Well, welcome to another Energy Matters interview. It's so exciting for me today to be able to bring this particular guest, Kathleen Horvath, who's just an amazing feng shui master. And I'll give you an introduction in a moment. But I just want to say that when we're talking about energy matters, we're really talking about the different things that create energy, that give us energy, that guide energy, that activate energy, as well as why does it all matter? And I can't think of a better person to interview for this today. So Kathleen Horvath is a business feng shui master dedicated to helping conscious businesses and individuals harness the power of the ancient wisdom of classical feng shui and Chinese metaphysics to optimize their success in business and in life. She specializes in business feng shui, astrology, and favorable timing, and uses these tools to empower her clients to achieve their goals. Kathleen has developed her proprietary software, the Time Blazer, a personalized business timing system to take the right action at the right time every time. Time Blazer app is due to launch July this year, and I want to say, as a longtime user of Time Blazer, there's pretty much it's become a guiding principle in my life. I can't imagine not having it. Ever since I first heard of it, I was interested in it, and it's a super fun way to look at how do you address different aspects, not only in your life, but particularly in your business. So welcome, Kathleen. It's such a pleasure always to see you.
Well, thank you, Vicki. It's always such a delight to be in your presence, and thank you for having me be available to your community. Thanks.
Absolutely. So I want to jump right in. I know that we are in the season of the fire season right now, and where the fire horse is the operating year-long thing, and we're in this thing that you talk about called Project Nine. Oh, is that right? Project Nine?
Period 9.
Period nine. Period nine. So I want to hear about all of this. So let's start by talking about being in fire season. What does that mean, and how do we use it?
Well, one of the reasons I so have always resonated with you is we kind of look at that same season of the five elements. So when we talk about the fire season, we're talking about elementally what that can provide for a person. So that's visibility, that is definitely illumination. There's a lot of happiness within the fire element for sure. It's passion. But I would have to say that we are being really in enshrouded, if you will, with the fire season because not only are we entering within the year of the fire season, which is May, June, and July of every year, that is considered the summer months when the sun is at its peak, and this is something that happens every year. Well, within this year, as you mentioned earlier, the fire horse. Fire being already the dominant element of the horse, and now we are compounding it that with the fire horse within the fire season. That's
That's a lot of fire. That's a
a
lot of
lot of fire and
fire.
amplification. Now we have this underlying period frame, which is a 20-year frame, which we entered actually within the Wood Dragon, which was in 2022, excuse me. And this period, if you will last until 2043. So we have a lot of fire that is happening. Now, also on the flip side of that, we are also going to see a lot of volatility. You're going to see a lot of volatility in the markets. If you are not living under a rock and you catch any news feed, you know that there's a lot of geopolitical things going on that are disrupting, and that's another thing that you can think about when it comes to fire, that it will disrupt a pattern very, very quickly and you will see a lot of visibility. Now, here's the thing about fire. You can be visible and everything is great and you're showing your best foot or your best face forward, but fire can also show also the flaws within a person or things that it's very hard to be invisible, especially with certain acts, if you will. Everyone is under the microscope. So this is my number one suggestion during this time frame if you've got some things to clean up, do them quickly because they are actually able to resurface maybe at an inopportune time. But here's the thing with the time blazer. We want to make ourselves visible when the timing is right. So it's every day is not equal, as we know, right? So, but within the time blazer, it's based on all of the elements, the all of the five elements, wood, fire, earth, metal, and water. But within this season, it is about visibility. But within each day, there is also a mix of the five elements. So we've got those things to take into consideration when we're doing our planning, but the beauty of the software is that it does all the thinking for you. It's a personalized system that people are able to make informed decisions, create their own strategies, but it's really important to use the right action on the right day because again, not every day is equal.
And one of the things that's so brilliant about Time Blazer is that when we're looking at it, we're sort of looking at sort of what are the generic patterns that are happening of and these different elements and what they might mean, but we're also looking at how they interface with your own personal uh, astrology chart, your Chinese astrology chart, so that it's really working with it's not it's both meta in terms of the global thing, and then it's also very personalized. And that's one of the things I love about it is that I can kind of see where the patterns are, and then also how do I interact with those patterns.
That's exactly right. And you know, the beauty of having a personalized timing system like the Time Blazer, and by the way, I didn't invent the Time Blazer. It is based on the ancient wisdom of what is called Zeri, which is the art of date selection. You know, when the mention of astrology to some people are like, oh, this is a quite
Too,
edge.
too.
But truthfully, if you understand what your astrology is and you understand, as you said, your own patterns, your own blind spots, your own ways of really becoming the best being that you could be, there's a lot of information in that blueprint of your birth and your natal chart. But you know what? All of us have things that come in our life that can be a little bit messy, right? So your astrology really can't save you. It's an information piece that will say you are capable of certain things. You're capable of being an entrepreneur. You're capable of being, potentially a very good researcher. It will go into that depth of what you are capable of doing, but what it won't do is help you make the decisions like the Time Blazer would in the respect you want to launch something, you want to launch it that is personalized to you. So you can't really change your natal chart, you're born. You can change your decisions on how you operate, of course, but what you can have 100% control over in most circumstances is choosing the right day to accelerate or improve your opportunities, to help you forge better partnerships, better relationships, make more informed decisions about your health. But from a business perspective, it can help you make better decisions about when to launch, when to stay back and look at, oh, you know what? The energy is a little bit unstable right now. So maybe it's better to tighten up some messaging, work on those offers to make them a little bit more succinct. That way you'll have a better outcome. And that personalization can really help when potentially your chart might be lacking in any certain year or time frame of your life. So these are the correctors that the universe, for those who are willing to walk into it, the answers are there for you.
Well, that's brilliant. And so right now things are very intense. And what you were saying about this being fire, fire, fire is that that thing that this is a time of visibility where things are becoming illuminated. And so we're looking at what is it that you want to illuminate, and then you're matching that with what is it, how do you best work with your own timing in terms of that? And this is particularly, I think, for people who have businesses or who are doing any kind of marketing or sort of, or have a business that they want to promote. So can you give an example of what would be a bad way of sort of just spaghetti against the wall in terms of what you're doing, or what would be the optimal way from your perspective around working with, like a very maybe a specific person that you've worked with, or you yourself, in terms of how you plan the things that you do for your work?
Yes. I can give you two examples. I can give you a personal one, but I'm going to give you a client one because this one does speak louder than words. Of course, I know the intricacies of it, but having it actually used in case studies with clients, I think that's an important thing for people to understand. And I'm going to go back to a client that was considering number one moving from he was making a career change in very opposite career change of what he was doing, and he was going to be buying a brick and mortar business, and he wanted me to consult, looking at the three-prong approach. What's in my business astrology? Is this a good business move from a feng shui perspective? Will I end up monetizing this business? And of course, when would be the best time to sign the contract? So this was at a time when real estate was multiple bids were coming in, and he looked at this particular business, and he was actually told by his accountant that he was making a horrible move. It was not a good move for him to do. But when I looked at his business astrology and the timing in which he was doing this, it really was starting to line up. But here was the caveat: do not sign that contract or even put in an offer until this particular day that I advised him to do, which was under the deadline of when an offer could be submitted. And so he was like, Kathleen, I'm telling you this, like there's multiple bids and I've got to get this in. And I said, well, you hired me. This is my advice. I would wait for this particular day to go ahead and submit your offer and see what happens. But you paid me for this advice, and this is advice I'm going to give you. I'm not going to give you the false hope that I'm just going to choose any day to go ahead and sign this contract. Not only did he get the the bid, because all of the other ones, for whatever reason, did not resonate with the owner, but my clients did. Why? Because we aligned person, space, and time. And what I mean by that person is that natal chart that's saying I have a certain capability, the feng shui of the current space that he was in, which is important to help you achieve your goals, and then the universe of choosing a good time to align person, human, or human, universe, and space. When that alignment happens, that's when the dials of the safe could begin to line up, and you can open up the door and walk through. So not only was he able to buy the business because it was just the business, it wasn't the building for sale, but he had negotiated buying the building as well. And within the first year, he made over 1.5 million in the very first year, which was, according to his accountant, not a good financial decision for him. But in this particular case, Chinese metaphysics ruled. Now, again, I always, 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 always tell my clients when I'm working with them, I am one piece of the pie. You still have to have a good business plan. You still have to have actionable steps that you're going to be doing strategically. And it is a good idea to pass it by, your other filters. Like, do you want a lawyer to also look at the contract and things like that? I'm not going to consult on the legal contract. I'm consulting on what he's capable of doing. Is the timing right? Make your move. And if it's not, you hold. And that can be the most nerve-wracking thing with many of my clients because they want to do it right now. Once they hear that information, it's like, oh, okay, let's go. And it's like, you gotta wait. You gotta wait. So a little bit of patience for optimal timing needs to be considered. That's
Okay, so let's bring it back then to the specifics of optimal timing right now. What do people need to know around what's happening? Because things are so feels very, I don't know about you, but to me they seem super unstable. Everybody that I talk to is very, very worried about what's been happening in the world, what's happening globally, and how to navigate. So, what is it that you feel like is important for people to know about these days that we're in, this time that we're in?
First of all, let's remember the concept of yin and yang. So, yang is very outward. That's all the explosive things that we're hearing. But we also have yin, and yin is much more, that's the charisma that, I'm talking about passion that is controlled, not crazy passion. So what I would really suggest, and I have been suggesting for quite some time, because here's also another thing that we also need to remember that not only are we having a yang fire horse, we're also having a yin fire goat in 2027. That's 2 years of fire and volatility. So we really do need to watch very, very much our anger management, I'm going to put it. Like it's very easy to just be a loose wire. It's very easy to fly off the handle. It's very easy to get, things like anxiety attacks, because we're just taking in too much yang. So working with someone like you, Vicky, is a perfect solution to this explosive fire, is integrating some qigong into your life. Every business owner that is successful knows that their mental and physical health is absolutely critical to success, especially in today's day and age. If you're burnt out, you're not going to be able to be helpful to anyone. So number one, take care of yourself. Really watch your yang activities, and everyone knows when we're off kilter, right? Because your health starts declining, you end up being a little bit more volatile in your decision making. So this is a time of yes, visibility, and yes, things are moving very, very quickly. When you think about fire, and this is more yin fire, which is like the candlelight, but it's also like a big forest fire. And you live in an area where that's very prevalent every single year. At some points, it's year round at this point, right? But fire can jump from one hillside to another in a snap of a second, just the blow of the wind. So people can also, I'm going to go down this path. And then all of a sudden, there, bright, shiny object, there's another one over here. That's the thing that people really should be watching out for. Lots of opportunities, but not every opportunity needs to be jumped at and fully expressed, if you will. So I would watch that. Is
Hmm.
too many quick decisions. Try to land more into your heart, take a step back. I mean,
Hmm.
yes, things are moving fast, but you know what? It would be really smart for people to just take a take a beat before they
Well, I think that, yeah, I mean, I think what you're saying is so important because I know that in the five element work that I do, that the fire is related to the heart, and it's also related to the feeling sense of impatience. So it can be hatred and passion, but it's also could be, the sense of impatience. And so that if you're finding that you're feeling impatient right now, that's sort of in alignment with what fire energy does. And the antidote for that is compassion and love and being kind to yourself and taking a moment to know that you are worthy of slowing down and hearing and listening to your own inner wisdom, which would be that inner part of the
absolutely
yin,
correct.
the yin focus.
Yeah, absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. So again, I think that goes back to the conversation of balance that we all have times where we must be yang. We must be alert. We must make these decisions. But when it gets to the point where that we have forgotten about, we need to bring things full circle. So there is some balance. I think that's where a lot of disease is going to happen. We're going to see unfortunate collapse. We're already seeing it, that unfortunate collapse of the middle class. That's what period nine, unfortunately, is indicating when you look at the hexagram. There's a solid line on the bottom, there's a broken line in the middle, and then there's a solid line on top. So when we look at the metaphysics of that middle class piece, that broken line, could tend to break down. So
Mm.
here's the thing that I would also recommend for your listeners is that if you have the opportunity to get on the bottom side of the higher end, and serve those clients, because they're going to be the ones that have a little bit more discretionary funds. We're already seeing it at the gas pump, at the grocery store. People and on where if it drops below that middle class, there, as much as we want to help, and I'm not saying don't help, please do help wherever we can, but you're going to monetize on the to wherever you can get to that upper echelon and the elite. Those are the people currently that are holding all of the purse strings, or most of them. And so that would be a recommendation, especially if you're looking for cash flow within the period nine conversation, and especially for the next couple of years.
So could you define for people who haven't heard this before exactly what period nine means?
Sure. Period nine, we have nine periods, and we are in period nine, and then the cycle will start over again. It's a 180-year cycle, and every 20 years, we will have an element that prevails over that time frame. We just happen to be in period nine. Period nine, if you look at just what that means from um, uh, you know, a, a higher level, if you will, it is always talking about technology. Where's technology going today? It's skyrocketing, right? Everything with AI. What you think is happening right now in AI, and can you imagine it 20 years from now or 18 years from now when period nine ends, is going to be mind-boggling. Space travel is going to be on the rise. We already know that that's happening. We saw a great moon launch, just a circumnavigation of the moon just a few weeks back. Um, Unfortunately, we're going to see a rise in uh, terrorism, war, that kind of thing. It's volatile. That's why it's under the period nine umbrella. We're also going to see a rise in the beauty industry. Now, whether we like the direction of the beauty industry in which it's going, but we're going to see a lot of modified faces and bodies and things like that. Healthcare is going to be on the rise, especially from technological importance that we're going to, and I think it just came out again about a week ago that they have a new test trial for pancreatic cancer, which, like the MR virus, they can build upon that. So we might see most cancers being eradicated within period nine. You will see metaphysics. So things that you and I do, that's going to be on the rise. We're going to see, let's see, the entertainment industry. And when I say the entertainment industry, and we see that breaking down as well, like the major networks, Hollywood is not the only place to produce a film anymore. For people who are ambitious enough, they can become international stars on social media anymore. So those platforms and many more like them are going to replace, I believe, the traditional Hollywood vibe that we all know. So those are some of the things that are going to be happening. But then at the end of period nine, we start all over again with period one, and period one is water. So then we go more into more deep wisdom, more reflective, because history does repeat itself. I mean, we know that for a fact. We haven't learned much. When you look at some of the historical documentaries, they're really kind of saying we haven't really learned much. We're making the same mistakes. We're doing it all over again. But it may be something with this Gilded Age and the Roaring Twenties and those kinds of those kinds of ways of being are going to be at first they're going to be visible and fun, and then after that they're going to be like, oh, let's get a little bit more conservative than the way that we've been acting kind of erratically. So again, spirituality, that's also a fine line though, because we have people who are deeply spiritual and then we have people who are deeply religious. Those are actually on that same line, if you will. They might be polar opposites, but we will see both sides of that coming out in period nine. And so that's something to be watching on everything I just discussed, that there could be things that are good or evil or disruptive on either side, that we need to make our own informed decisions of who we want to follow. And keep this in mind, who you follow, you are being very visible right now. So again, comments on Facebook and all of that, or any social media platforms, those things can be scrutinized at a later date. So, be true to what you really want to be saying, and you should be fine with it. But, just slamming people to slam people, that kind of nonsense will go on forever. But what side do you want to be on? That's the thing you want to ask yourself.
And period nine goes from when to when? What are
It
the,
started 2024 and it will finish in 2043.
Mhm.
And then another 20-year cycle will start, like I said, and it would be
the
water.
water. Yeah, yeah. Okay, well, that's a lot of information. So for folks who say that they have a business or that they're wanting to do something, if they feel like kind of ready to go, or what do you think that they should do?
Hmm. So, um, what I always say when you're going to be starting something new and it's a milestone activity, like starting a new business, and this would be like filing your legal documents, opening up a bank account, any, forging any partnerships or anything like that, do it on a good day. So a
Mhm.
good day that matches your own natal chart and your own sensibilities. I would choose days because there's 12 different types of days. I would choose a success day, a stable day, an established day. Um,
And so these are all phrases from the Time
from the
Blazer,
time,
which
there
is
are
your
types of
proprietary
analytics. So you have to do
software.
yeah, you have to do the right activity for the right type of day. For example, a destruction day, which is one of the 12 type of days that you can do, that would not be an optimal day to start anything, because you're always going to be trying to break it down, or the energy of the universe is always going to try to make it break down. So that's why it's important to take the right action at the right time. And so when you're starting something out like that, it would be to your benefit to get the boost from the universe to say, yeah, delivered on this platter, it's a good success day, or it's a good, another one, like you're doing a launch. let's say you want to do something on a day that's going to get the most visibility. Use an open day. An open day is good for making things go viral. Why? Because an open day holds the energy of opportunity. And so again, just because you launch on a good day doesn't mean that your business is going to succeed. You still have to have a great business plan. You still have actionable strategies. That all has to come into play for your highest success. So this is that insider information, that secret weapon that not everyone has access to, and it can give you a competitive edge just by very nature of releasing your information at a good time so the most people get their eyes on it.
Okay, well, that brings me to ask you about the transformation or the development that you've got of the Time Blazer. I know that you've got a launch happening yourself. Tell us about both what that launch is and also how you matched it with your own best days to do this.
Well, truthfully, I am the launch date is scheduled for July the 30th, and this is to bring the app into the App Store that we've had the software now for around 15 years, but we've decided that it's time to get it into the App Store. So we are launching it on April 30th, and the reason we're launching it on April 30th, one, it was a highly vibrant day for me because I'm the founder. I do have partners, but I am the founder, and you want to benefit the founder. Now, if we could not have found a good day to benefit me within that time frame, we would have chosen another partner because that's where you can use the energy of another person that we are aligned with. And so, but we are using me as the founder. And the day that and we chose that already a year ago of when we were going to launch that. So the more lead time you have, the more opportunity you have to choose the best day. If
So
you're
did you say April 30th?
July 30th, did I say
Yeah,
April?
yeah, so I was like, no, I think that's
July
over.
30th. Sorry. July 30th, and that is an open day. And what did I just say before? Why would you choose an open day? Because it helps anything, your message, your product, your service go viral. You have more opportunity for more eyes to be on it. So, of course, I'm not just going to send out an email on July 29th and say, hey, the app is ready. We've been succinctly dripping content and letting people know, and things are going to ramp up in May. They're going to be accelerating in June, and then it will be released in the final month of the fire season in July. And, maybe this is TMI, but the reason I'm not launching it in the month of the horse is because it's too volatile of
The,
energy.
the
There's
month of the horse being June,
there's just too many horses galloping in
and
that.
the month of the horse is June, right?
Yes, the
Yeah,
horse
yeah.
month of is June. I also have a horse in my chart, and the horse year, the horse month, and horse in my chart. The horse is one of the animals that are quite powerful, headstrong, if you will. And so we don't want to get into, these stallions kind of, rearing up on each other. So we're going into a month that combines better with my astrology versus complicates the day. So any launch in May, June, or July is going to be good for everyone, but don't launch just because I said May, June, or July. Are you ready? If you're ready, then it's a go. If you're not, then it would be probably best to wait for another time. But we have the fire horse all through till February 4th of next year, and we're in the fire season till 2043. But I wouldn't wait for too many years to launch because being on the upside of the period is when most people are just planning, this is where, the early bird is going to get the worm. So you want to launch early in the period 9 cycle, and that will be good for another 5 or 6 years. But it's the time is right, and so we're
Well,
gonna.
let's go back to the app,
Okay.
Kathleen. What does the app, why would people want the app as opposed to just getting your software?
Well,
What's
it's
app?
really the same. It's a convenience. The app is now a convenience
Uh-huh.
instead, so that you would
So
be able.
when you get the app, you can basically have it on your calendar so that you're knowing these particular days, these particular hours, there's optimal for these things and optimal for other things, depending on if it's a destruction or if it's a open day, depending on these different days, because there is
Correct.
definitely use for destruction days. They're not days to just
Oh,
go in the bed and
absolutely.
hide or pull the covers over your head because, oh no, it's destroying. No, that's not it. It's really looking
No,
what is it
that's
that you
that. I want to actually correct you on that one. I actually want to correct you on that one, because I don't want anyone to operate from the system of superstition. This has been a tried and true system for over 4,000 years, number one. No, and it's used, by the way, by the elite, imperial government, the government military operations, if you will, and the affluent. And what my idea is why can only the affluent use this technology? Because back in the day, as late as the early 60s during the Cultural War, it was punishable by death to be a feng shui master. They did not want these secrets to be.
Same with Qigong. The
Yeah,
same
it
with
was like,
Qigong.
we do not want this accessible to the commoners because it's too powerful. And it was like, well, you know what? I wanted to change that. I wanted to make it accessible because there's already too many tools that are helping only the affluent. And this is one that's kind of, easier to follow, of just choosing, your best timing on that. So yeah, I would say that, it was, a decision that I made to do that. But the app itself is the tool that, instead of, reaching out to me for consulting, it'll be in your back pocket. You can just, take out the app and go, oh, is this a good time for a meeting? If I can give you another really short story, and I will bring in, a personal one. I got a call from a titan in, Silicon Valley several years back. And at first, I got a text that this company was interested in my consulting. Was my contact information correct? And I looked at it, and I also looked at my time blazer. I was not going to respond back to that text until it was a good day. Which luckily enough, I only had to wait the next morning. So I texted this person back and I said, yes, it was. And then almost immediately I get a call, but well, it was actually in a different time slot. So anyway, we made connection, and they said, can you come down to campus? I don't know. It was like a couple of days later. And I kind of told a white lie. I said, oh, I already am scheduled on that time because I wanted to push the appointment by 3 hours. But I can make it to the 1:30, time slot. I wanted to make sure it was after a certain time. I can make that. Would that work for you and your team? And he said, yes, it would. So I'm telling you, when I walked on campus, I knew with certainty I had that job even before I walked into the conference room. And it was an easy close. We signed. It was just simple and smooth. That's the best way I can describe it. But it was a matter of like, oh, the excitement of, yeah, this is a good time, just taking it because it was a pretty feather in my cap, project. But I knew that if I jumped, I would muddy up some of the things that I was trying to accomplish with that company. So it was really, a
Doing the
matter
right thing at the right time.
doing the thing at the right time, believing in I know that this is going to benefit me if I wait a few hours. It worked out magically.
Beautiful. It's a perfect story to close. Thank you so much, Kathleen. I really love hearing about these successes, about the sort of the sense of support that this type of technology can bring in terms of being able to really navigate volatile times, this fiery times, times of, passion, but also times of the heart. And I know it totally. It's the, this is fiery technology, right?
There you go. There's fire in action.
Yeah, so what I was saying is that I think that, because this is a time of the heart and there's a time where we're wanting to be in our authenticity, be in that visibility, be able to be supported by looking at, being strategic about how we use time and being strategic about how we use energetic flows, which this really enables and supports. I think it's a real gift. So I'm really looking forward to seeing the launch of this app and being able to share this with more and more people because I think the Time Blazer is a really brilliant way to bring people to their best selves, do what they want to do in the way that is the most impactful because the world needs it right now. So thank you
Uh,
so much, Kathleen. Do you have any final words that you want people to think about before we
yes,
close?
yes. And please remember the yin and yang. You being the great resource that you are to help with that balance, I think is more important than people may realize. And don't wait too late to bring balance back to your life in this very volatile but very exciting time. Be visible, be shine, get out there and shine, and take care of yourself.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
Mm, thanks, dear. Bye bye.
Bye.